If you've really been struggling with weight loss in your relationship with your body and with food, you're going to want to stop everything and listen to this for a moment because there's a lot of advice out there. This is the 3 ways to know if moderation is not going to work for you. Number 1, you have an unpredictable lack of control. Now, this can actually be very confusing because it's unpredictable, right? Like if you always lost control, that's one thing. Then you can be very clear. It's like, hey, when this happens, this is the result that I get. When you have a true allergy to something, it is very clear. When I put this in my body, this is what happens. And then you can make the choice if it is makes sense for you and if it is worth it to put whatever that thing is that you have an allergy to into your body because you know that you're always going to get this result. For instance, a peanut allergy. It's pretty easy for people not to eat peanuts if they can't breathe 10 minutes after they have eaten the peanuts, right? That's a true allergy. But just underneath the surface of a true allergy that represents in that way of like a life-threatening situation, right? Where it makes it very clear, like it doesn't matter how good that thing tastes or who made it or what holiday it is or what celebration, I'm not putting that in my body because I like to breathe. But there are things that are just underneath the surface of that, in between actually being beneficial and helpful for your body on one side of the spectrum and having a true life-threatening allergy on the other side of the spectrum. There is a whole in between that all human beings and different substances have different experiences with. For instance, some people have an alcohol allergy. I've seen people that have like a literal alcohol allergy where their body goes into convulsions even if they have a little bit, all the way to alcoholism where it's a little bit different. It's more of like a craving that begins to happen once they put certain substances, alcohol, into their body. And then, of course, there are people who have no effect whatsoever, right? They have a little bit to drink, they have a lot to drink. It doesn't affect them either way. It doesn't even matter. So all substances on the planet, our body reacts and responds in a similar way, somewhere on that spectrum. And so when it comes to food, specifically the types of foods that there's controversy around, like the health, if it's healthy for you or not healthy for you, it's going to totally differ from person to person. And so I have a serious problem when people come out and they're tooting the horn of moderation when they have no freaking idea what is actually happening with that person and where they are on the spectrum, whether it's totally benign and actually helpful, whether it's benign and it doesn't have any effect whatsoever, or if it's actually very harmful for them, right? So there are some of us who, when we eat certain things like sugar, flour, fake sugars and NutraSweet, highly processed foods with lots of chemicals in it, that there are things that begin to happen in the body that maybe aren't all the way on the one side, I can't breathe 10 minutes after anaphylactic shock type of allergy, but there's something that happens in there when it comes to mood swings, cravings, irritability, so on and so forth. There's lots of different symptoms, including all kinds of inflammation that causes other dis-eases, and we're not even really sure how to put those pieces together. So let me just say very frankly to all of you out there that are tooting the horn of moderation, saying no food is bad, that is absolute crock of cuckoo craziness, BS. It very much depends on the person. And so you need to be educated and understand the signs to look for if what it is that you're putting in your body actually is not working for you. And having that a willingness to acknowledge that different things are going to have different effects. Like there are some things I can be totally moderate with, and there's no issue that other people really can't have in their diet whatsoever. I'll give you nuts, for example. I know a lot of people that I know, it triggers them for whatever reason. They have cravings, they want more, they can't stop eating them. Like nuts is just not in the plan. For me, it's totally benign. It really doesn't matter, right? I actually think that it's quite helpful, right? It's got some good nutrients and fat and fiber and whatever, all kinds of stuff like that. So for me, it's a positive thing, but not for everybody. I have another friend that I know that has it's not really a true allergy, but it's definitely intolerance to eggs. Right? Like We all think that like eggs are a good thing, not for this person, right? This person's body is saying, no, thank you. In fact, please, no, thank you. So when we're talking about, oh, well, moderation is the key, moderation, there's no bad foods, that is something that we need to take into serious consideration, especially if you are struggling with all sorts of diseases that are caused by diet and lifestyle. You're struggling with your weight, mood swings, irritability, inflammation, weight gain. Like all of these are signs that like whatever you think that you're trying to moderate because like that's the normal thing to do ain't working for you. Number two is you get angry or somehow emotional and defensive when you are trying to control certain foods, intake of certain foods, or even quantity, or you get angry, upset, and defensive when somebody else suggests that maybe you should have a different amount. Sometimes they'll suggest that you need to eat more, and sometimes they'll suggest that you need to have less of whatever that thing is. So their opinions and their commenting on what it is that you are doing creates an intense amount of either shame, guilt, anger, denial, frustration. Like there's big emotional response when there is a conversation like that, or even when your own self is trying to control and get rid of certain things. That is a sign that moderation is just not going to work for you. The third sign that moderation is just not going to work is there is a lack of proper nutrition information. So many of us have been at the dieting game for a really long time. And over time, there's been different fads that have come and gone. Even medical advice from doctors, professionals, and our government has changed dramatically over time. Fat is bad, fat is good. Butter will kill you, eat margarine. Just kidding, the margarine is gonna kill you faster, eat the butter. Sugar is good, it's fine, it's just empty calories. A little bit of sugar is good for you. Just kidding, sugar is so bad, don't even eat fruit, right? Let's eat more. No, you gotta eat less. Eggs are bad, eggs are good. Eat whole wheat only. Just kidding, the wheat has gluten and gluten is the cause of everything bad. Well, I mean, seriously, it's no wonder that we're all confused. I actually have a master's in health education specializing in nutrition, and I walked out of that class going, oh my gosh, no wonder we are so all confused and we're all tooting, we think we're tooting the same horn. Is that the phrase? Yeah. But really, we're kind of like all saying the same thing, but from a different perspective and completely confused. We are in a poor information age. We have this diet mentality of this all or nothing, that there's some right way to do it and that everyone needs to do it my way. We're obsessed with convenience and quick fixes. And you think moderation is the key? Moderating what? A ding dong? Just moderate it, in all things in moderation. Are you kidding me? 80% of the stuff that you find at the grocery store is toxic, chemical, man-made crap. You don't want to have that in moderation because it's so abundant. You want to have that very little, if anything. Okay, so what are we going to do about this, right? Because I'm right here, right now, I'm calling BS on this. I'm calling BS on this idea that moderation is the key. I'm sick of it. I don't want to hear it anymore. No one who has been physically, emotionally, and mentally affected by the food industry and the fear-inducing fad diet misinformation agenda can honestly say to themselves, yeah, it's my fault. I just need to be neutral here. I need to learn how to moderate. I need to moderately eat Oreos. Now, no, all right, let me put this chemical rich, not FDA tested, made in a fancy factory, specifically designed to hijack my taste buds and keep me eating more food-like product that says full of vitamins or whole grain goodness or healthy or nature's way or some other health claim into my body, have it disrupt my gut, trick my brain, damage my organs, change my DNA, but I'm only gonna have the right amount, the moderate amount. What even is a moderate amount of toxic garbage? I can't hear this anymore. Seriously, I want to know what is the moderate amount of toxic garbage. This is crazy. Okay, so moderation proponents. The ones telling the millions of people on medications due to consumption of this garbage, suffering, dying, getting limbs amputated on all kinds of medication, so dis-ease that their own immune system is fighting them. They're dealing with the side effects of all of this medication, still blaming themselves. Oh yeah, moderation, honey. Just have less garbage. I cannot and I will not ever condone that kind of belligerent denial of the truth. If you have practiced moderation, right? Like really tried your whole life, like I think all of us have, right? And that has brought you health and peace, then God bless you. I think that's wonderful, right? I think that if you were to grow up in a family where that was taught and preached and practiced, and that's what you have to go with, then that's a beautiful thing. But for the rest of us, right? Please stop telling other people that they should go from way too much or way too little to just a moderate amount. It's like telling people who have a broken leg that if they just take one step at a time, they're going to get there. Their leg is broken. They need to be completely off the leg for quite some time, patch it up, wear a cast, let it heal first. Good Lord, moderation is not going to work here. So let's just do a little recap, right? Moderation is a nice idea. It is very idealistic, it's beautiful. And if you're coming from an already moderate background and your health and your body and your mind are pretty average and healthy, then moderation is a beautiful thing. Keep doing it, right? But if you are on the outskirts and you're feeling frustrated and stuck, like the vast majority of Americans are, and more people throughout the world, then having this like fake idea that like somehow you're just going to like move to the middle and moderate, and there isn't going to be an incredible amount of adjusting to the things that are working and not working, then you're just doing yourself a disservice and you're going around in a circle and you're blaming yourself, and you don't need to do that. Right? So number one, these are the 3 ways to know if moderation is just not going to work. And if actual releasing the things that are no longer working and triggering cravings, dis-ease, emotional upset, inflammation, etc. Number one, you have an unpredictable lack of control. Like you're not really sure when it's going to happen and when it's not. 2, you get angry or upset if you or somebody else tries to control your food intake or choices. And number 3, if you really just feel like you have a lack of information, you're not even sure what to do next, right? These are 3 ways to really know that moderation is just not going to work. And it's okay to get help, right? Because I knew from a young age that moderation was just not going to work. I wanted it to. I loved the idea of just having a little bit of whatever when I wanted to. But the reality is, to have actual moderation work, you have to be in a non-caring state. You have to not care if you have it and not care if you don't have it. So if you find that you are desperate for moderation and to the not caring, then don't have it for a little while and practice the not caring about not having it for a little while. Let the body and the brain heal, and then from a place of a cleansed place, go back to perhaps some moderation. Although personally, I found that just letting the stuff go is a lot easier, because who wants to trigger cravings and depression and irritability? Like, no, thank you. Like once that stuff's gone, once you get rid of the stuff that's no longer triggering that and you feel amazing, like why would you ever go back? That's the real beauty of not caring. It's like, yeah, exactly. I don't care about that thing that makes me feel bad anyway. Beautiful peace of mind. Okay, so thank you so much for being here. I love you. You're amazing. Make sure that you like and subscribe. And if there is a topic that you'd like me to cover, please leave it in the comments and I will talk to you soon. Mwah.